So I'm sure there's more layers on the Baha'i Faith that I probably obviously don't know in this little brief introduction. So I actually was curious then. You said it was part of the Abrahamic faiths originally, or kind of in that group. Is there an afterlife that the Baha'i believe in? Is that a goal? Like, is this, are we trying to get to heaven?
And how do you get there?
Thing?
Yes, how do you get there? So I'll throw out one of the unique features. Well, let me say this real quick too, is that one of the key teachings that Baha'u'llah mentioned was that all these other religions, they have kind of two main pieces to them. The one is an eternal message, which is like there is one God, do unto others as you do unto you,
Right.
basically. Be kind, be loving, etc. And the afterlife is the most important. All the physical world is temporary, but the soul is eternal in some fashion. Okay. So he clarified, like, all of them are there. And if you kind of start looking at religions, you'll see that there, right? You'll see the prayer, and you'll see a devotion to God and so forth. And you'll see a devotion to serving humanity and so forth. But the second piece is where I think people, I had never heard it said this way, but the second piece is that there's this cultural or time period piece to each of these religions, right?
Right.
So that's why, like, Hinduism looks quite a bit different than Judaism, and it looks different than the Baha'i Faith, right? But that's partially because of where it was introduced and what time period it was introduced, right? And so a lot of times when we say, oh, these religions are so radically different, they are different, but Baha'is would argue they're different in that second category, not the more important eternal category, I guess.
Right.
And so with that said, so the Baha'i kind of conception of the afterlife, I'd say, is very consistent with what you would believe, what you would see in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, that we have an eternal soul that was created by God, and that our body after it dies goes to an afterlife. So one of the things that impressed me or helped me, so after I had kind of vented to some of these Baha'is, and then they started kind of sharing with me some of their perspectives, a lot of my hang-ups that I voiced about Christianity at that time period, I was able to get over, basically. And so for me, that, like Damien mentioned, like the Baha'i Faith is kind of peaceful and wants unity and wants to help people get along.
Right.
And it did that exactly for me, because that's what I meant by, like, now, hopefully I don't have the anger and I'm not saying those kinds of things about my fellow believers in Christ. Because just like Christians believe Moses was an important prophet, the Baha'is believe Jesus was an incredibly important founder of religion, the Son of God, etc. So to your question then about the afterlife, the way the Baha'is describe it is they, instead of just saying like, oh, there's heaven and hell, they say, what would be the most heavenly thing is to be close to that person you love the most. And your creator is the one you love the most. Right. So heaven is nearness to God.
Okay.
And what is hell but being the furthest away you could be from the thing you most love, right? And even if you talk family relationships, right? If you're estranged from the family you love, that's pretty hellish.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's this view that you basically, after you die, there's a range of where you end up. Nearer to God is more of a heaven,
right?
But further away is more of a hell. But it's not just like two places or even three places if you believe in like the Catholic view of purgatory. Yeah. It's really, imagine it more of like a continuum. At least that's my understanding of what the Baha'i Faith is saying.